Hello and welcome to my review of Nauseous Rotbone, the Plague Surgeon. This model will cost you £15, like most of the sort of single miniatures in the Death Guard range, with the exception of Mortarion and Typhus. It's quite a decent model for the price. I just wanted to compare him next to the Primaris Space Marine Apothecary because they do share similar sort of features. They're both on the same sort of base and they're both pretty tall compared to their sort of counterparts. Now the Plague Surgeon is almost as tall as the Apothecary and he's not even standing up on something. So you know, it seems to be this theme of having the apothecaries or the sanguinary priests actually taller than you know, the normal sort of Space Marines, Primaris Space Marines, and just normal Space Marines in general. Don't know what it is. Maybe they've got access to sort of growth hormones or whatever, or maybe they need to be slightly taller, but it is what it is. But it's just an interesting sort of point to make. So he's a tall model. I'll compare him to the other models in a moment. But as it stands, very easy, simple model to build. You build him in a few minutes. It's not difficult whatsoever. So he's got this really nice Bale Sword and some syringes either side and some vials. And he's got this power pack with this human head sort of dangling from the power pack. Then he's got this little speaker and sort of like a torch. Then he's got this sort of demonic kind of face and some 3-symbol Nurgle with a horn going on. And I think this is a Narthessium. Nobody really corrected me in the unboxing, so we'll call it that for now. That's the model. You've got some maggots crawling from his sort of face. Wonderful. So yeah, fair bit of detail. Quite a tall, imposing model as well. I do like the serrated sort of fixed blade as well, obviously. And he's got a little bell going on as well. So yeah, so now what I'll do is I'll just as I mentioned, I'll just go through a few size comparisons. So yeah, next to the Primaris, he's pretty much the same height, which is a far cry from sort of like the Tallyman, who's a bit shorter. It's probably best if I sort of hold him up sort of that way. Yeah, I mean the Tallyman is definitely like probably a head shorter, but he does have this thing that sort of increases the sort of height of the model. But he's quite stocky, the Tallyman, but yeah, the Plague Surgeon definitely taller, a bit more of a presence, especially with this sort of sweeping kind of robe. Next to a normal Death Guard Plague Marine, he's probably a little bit taller, and then his power pack is another step taller too. So you're definitely going to see him in a squad, well, obviously because of the big base as well, but he's going to stand out in that squad, and people are going to be able to see that you've got one of those there. Yeah, and then just for giggles, I'll just show you next to you know, the Emperor's Finest. Yeah, crazy that the Plague Sword is, you know, up to the shoulders of a standard Space Marine. But there we go. And then next to Typhus, just to show you how tall he is of a model. I mean, he's probably up to maybe his Gorget there for Typhus, and Typhus is quite a tall model, quite a big model, bigger than I thought Typhus would be. So there you go, that's some sort of size comparisons. Now what I'll do is I'll just go into some rules of the model. So you find them in the elite section for a power level of 4, which seems to be the trend for all of these sort of additional elite single model units like the Biologists and Foul Blightspawn and so on. Exactly the same stat line as all of those. So you've got your movement 5 inches, your weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+, your strength 4, your toughness 5, your wounds 4, your attacks 3, your leadership 8, and your save of 3+. Now he's armed with a bolt pistol, that's a bit poor, a Bale Sword, blight grenades, and crack grenades. So bolt pistol is your sort of standard stat line. The Bale Sword is the strength of the user, so it's strength 4, it's AP -3, it's damage 1, and it is a plague weapon though, so that's pretty decent. The fact that it'll be a, you know, that it's got an AP 3, so he's really going to wreck face in terms of sort of you know, Space Marines, and the fact that it's a plague weapon too. His abilities, as all of them, he's got Death to the False Emperor and Disgusting and Resilient, so he's going to be ignoring those wounds on a 5+. Then his additional rules are the Tainted Narthecium. You may re-roll any disgustingly resilient rolls of 1 made for friendly Death Guard infantry units within 3 inches of this model. So it's very small area of effect. I would have liked it 7 inches. That would have been, he would have been an auto include, I think, if it was 7 inches. But 3 inches, it's only what, like sort of that much, if that. So your bubble is probably about there, isn't it, around him? So it's not crazy. I mean, 7 inches would have been, yeah, pretty decent, but unfortunately not. So re-rolling disgustingly resilient, it's only a 1. It's not just re-rolling them, which again is a bit silly. Re-rolling any failed ones would have again made him auto include. Gene Seed Thief, add 1 to all hit and wound rolls made for this model in the fight phase when targeting Adeptus Astartes infantry or Adeptus Astartes biker units. So that's pretty decent too. So you add 1 to all hit and wound rolls. So the Tainted Narthecium, although it's not incredible because you can only reroll the ones, the Gene Seed Thief is definitely a good buff. And he's not going to be too shabby in combat with his Bale Sword and his, toughness 5 and his disgustingly resilient. He's a great buff with the Gene Seed Thief, an okay buff with the Narthecium, and he's an alright model in close combat because of that power sword kind of thing that is a plague weapon. Oh, I forgot to mention that points wise, the Plague Surgeon is 59 points, and then you've got to add his Bale Sword, which is another 6 points, so you're looking at a nice round 65 points there, which isn't too bad for what he does, really. What do you guys think? Please do put it in the comments below. It would be great if you could add a scenario that he would be great in, or the other elite choices that he could buff. Please do put it in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.